Marcus Chun wiped the sweat from his brow as he reviewed the quarterly mining reports on Kepler 442b. The terraforming colony had grown from a handful of prefab shelters to a thriving settlement of 12,000 souls over the past decade. As chief administrator, he took pride in humanity's latest foothold among the stars. The com unit on his desk crackled to life. "Sir, we have unusual readings from the perimeter sensors," came the voice of Lieutenant Torres from the command center. Marcus frowned. The Zalorian Confederacy had established peaceful relations with human colonies, but pirates still roamed the outer systems. "Define unusual, Lieutenant." "Massive energy signatures, sir. Unlike anything in our databases." And they single quotes read. Beautiful. Before Marcus could respond, the office lights dimmed as something eclipsed the system's twin suns. Through the reinforced viewport, elegant ships descended from the cloud's crystalline vessels that seemed to bend light itself, moving with impossible grace. Marcus's breath caught. 10 years melted away in an instant. The lead ship touched down in the colony's central plaza with barely a whisper. Its hull shimmered like liquid sapphire before solidifying into a boarding ramp. Marcus was already running through the corridors, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and disbelief. By the time he reached the plaza, a crowd had gathered. Colonial security maintained a respectful perimeter, but their weapons remained holstered. The ships radiated no threat, only an otherworldly majesty that left everyone awestruck. The ramp lowered, revealing figures in flowing robes that caught and reflected the binary starlight. But Marcus only had eyes for the one who descended first. She was taller now, her features more refined, but those luminescent blue eyes were unmistakable. Azure skin that seemed to glow from within, delicate features that spoke of both alien beauty and timeless wisdom. The frightened child he'd found bleeding in the wreckage of a scout ship had become something magnificent. "Zara," he whispered. She heard him across the plaza, those incredible eyes finding his immediately. Her face so alien, yet somehow familiar, broke into a smile that could have powered the colony's fusion reactors. "Marcus Chun," she said, voice carrying clearly through some form of translation field. "My friend, my savior." The crowd parted as she approached, her retinue following at a respectful distance. Marcus noticed the elaborate crown of living crystal that floated just above her head, the way reality seemed to bend slightly around her presence. "You're—" he started, then laughed at the absurdity of it all. "You're a queen now." "Empress, actually," Zara replied with that same mischievous glint he remembered from the scared girl he'd nursed back to health. "The Luminary Dominion spans 400 star systems now, but I never forgot the human who risked everything to save one lost child." 10 years ago, Marcus had been a junior mining surveyor on a routine expedition when he'd found the wreckage. The ship had been unlike anything he'd seen, organic curves and crystalline components that defied human engineering. Inside, barely alive, had been a blue-skinned girl who couldn't have been more than 16 in human years. He'd hidden her from the corporate survey team, knowing how Exocorp would react to finding an unknown alien species. Instead, he'd used his personal supplies to heal her wounds, taught her basic English, and helped her repair her scout ship's communication array. When her people finally came for her, she pressed a small crystal into his hand, a promise, she'd said, that she would remember. "You kept your word," Marcus said now, fingering the crystal he still wore on a chain around his neck. "As did you," Zara replied. "You showed mercy when your people might have shown fear. You protected me when you could have gained profit. You taught me that humanity possesses something we had only heard whispers of in the deep void." "What's that?" "Honor without conquest, strength without domination." She gestured to the thriving colony around them. "We have watched your species spread across the stars, Marcus. The Galactic Council fears you, your rapid expansion, your adaptability, your refusal to accept limitations. They speak of containing humanity before you become a threat." Marcus felt his blood chill. "And you? What do you think?" Zara's smile turned fierce and for a moment he glimpsed the absolute authority that commanded 400 star systems. I think they underestimate what true strength looks like. I think they mistake kindness for weakness. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so only he could hear. The council plans to quarantine human space within the month. Cut off your supply lines, strand your colonies, let them wither. The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. Dozens of worlds, millions of lives, all dependent on interstellar trade and support. But you didn't come here just to warn me, he realized. No, Zara straightened, addressing not just Marcus but the gathered colonists. I came to extend an offer. The Luminary Dominion formally recognizes human sovereignty and offers full membership in our alliance. Trade agreements, defensive pacts, technological exchange, everything the council would deny you. The crowd began to murmur, hope and disbelief warring in their voices. There's a catch, Marcus said. It wasn't a question. The offer extends only to colonies that accept it freely. The council will not move against Dominion protectorates without risking war. Her eyes softened. I can save perhaps a dozen worlds, Marcus. Maybe 20 if I'm fortunate. The rest ... Marcus understood. She was forcing humanity to choose accept alien protection and sacrifice independence, or face isolation and probable extinction. How long do we have to decide? 3 days. My fleet will visit every human colony we can reach in that time. She paused, vulnerability flickering across her features. I know it's not perfect. I know your people value their freedom. But it's the only way I can repay the debt I owe. Marcus looked around at his people, engineers and farmers, scientists and miners, all them pioneers who left Earth to build something new among the stars. They deserve better than this choice, but they deserve to survive more. The Colony Council will need to vote, he said finally. Of course. Zara nodded formally, then stepped closer again. For what it's worth, Marcus, ruling 400 worlds has taught me many things. But the most important lesson I learned in a cramped mining shelter on a dead world, from a man who chose compassion over profit. As her retinue prepared to depart, Zara pressed something into Marcus's hand, another crystal, this one pulsing with inner light. Whatever your people choose, she said, remember that the universe is vast and full of wonders. But true friendship, that's the rarest element of all. The crystalline ships lifted off as gracefully as they'd arrived, leaving Marcus standing in the plaza with the weight of humanity's future in his pocket and the memory of a blue girl's smile burning, bright as a star. The vote was scheduled for tomorrow. Tonight, Marcus would dream of a scared child he'd saved and wonder if in doing so, he'd saved his entire species. Sometimes, he reflected, the smallest acts of kindness echo across the galaxy in ways no one could predict. The crystal pulsed once, more in his palm, and Marcus smiled despite everything. Whatever came next, humanity would face it as they always had together, with courage and with hope. After all, they were only human. And sometimes that was more than enough.